Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is probably the final part of Ireland. I'm recording this right now on January the 11th. I think it's supposed to go up by the 12th. So we're just hopefully wrapping up the last little bit. So last video, we realized that the IRC doesn't exactly exist. In fact, it's now the Irish Monetary Reform Association, the IMRA. It sounds a little bit more lame than the Irish Republican Army or the Irish Citizens Guard, I'm not going to lie. They might be a horrible terrorist group in real life, I don't know. But all I know is that, who cares about monetary reform? That is really cool to see. I didn't notice that, actually, or maybe I did, I just forgot. But yeah. So we realized that the IRA and the UVF are kind of fighting against each other. And so we're going to try to have them just sit it down and talk it out between each other. So let's go ahead and do a Stormont emergency meeting. The Northern Ireland Assembly, Norman formerly as the Stormont, has not been an especially powerful voice in the politics of Northern Province recently, at least in part due to the fact that our government has spent much of its downtime making short of arbitrarily restricting its actions and powers. Despite this, we should note that it is still technically the legal representation for the region. This gives it a certain sense of authority which could use to end this whole farce. Were we to call an emergency session, put forth some resolutions, there would technically be a little more ardent anti-Ulsterite voices could do. Getting from there to actually sharing a peace process through, though, will be quite a challenge indeed. Irish politics, man. It's an interesting thing for sure. How is that prison coming along? It'll be done in December. So that will be nice to see. What is going on over there? Niger is winning, or just won something over here, I think. So it's Free France versus the West African Alliance versus Pan-Africans. It's an interesting conflict. Sean Lamass looked out at the faces before him. Some were smiling, some tried to look neutral, but a good deal of them were frowning. A few of them were glaring at him with nothing but spite. Some seats were even empty, with their would-be occupants refusing to be in the same building as him. Such was the life in Stormont. Absences notwithstanding, the speech had to go on. He arranged his notes and began speaking, his voice low. Ladies and gentlemen of the North Irish Parliament, I didn't come here to speak to you about grand sweeping agreements or decisive laws that can solve all our problems in one fell swoop. It is folly to think that over 800 years of history can be forgotten with a stroke of a pen, or to think that history can be forgotten at all. Rather, I am here to talk about careful steps and cautious changes. Some may deride these moves as slow and effective or paralyzed, but they are the only way to tumultuously accomplish change while leaving everyone satisfied. I believe it is the only way to bring about change on this island to anyone, northern or southern, Catholic or Protestant, nationalist or unionist, can hope to accomplish anything. He continued talk at length, expounding on the virtues of cooperation and finding common ground, before ending with a quote from the Bible. He shall judge between the nations, and shall arbitrate for many peoples. They shall beat his swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. The speech was met with muted applause from most of the MPs and disdainful silence from the remainder. Far from enthusiastic clapping he'd get from his own party in the Doyle, but frankly better than he expected. It's a start. Go ahead and appease the moderates. O'Neill's unionists, at least some of them, and Fitt's nationalists, again at least some of them, are a small bastion of sanity in the chaotic mess of Northern Irish political life. This leads to them being considered the default voice of reason by much of the northern populace on both sides of the fence. Thankfully, we think we can get them both to cooperate with the peace process. It will take some work, promises respecting the legal boundaries of certain institutions, some more freedoms for the Anglican element, and continued patronage of Catholics, and so on and so forth. The important point is that if we have them on side, we don't need any more or less conductive peace efforts anymore, which means we can address them more thoroughly. Yeah. I don't see why not. lot of political power built up, which we don't really have much to do with it since we don't have any bills. Although, by the end of the month, we will go ahead and get our prison constructed. And that'll go ahead and give us a nice little boost of investor approval. Maybe presence too, I forget. But at very least approval. Let's wait for the 12th. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and control the NIC. The North Irish Constabulary is an organization of dubious loyalty at the best of times, and right now, the times are most assuredly not that. We are certain as to the exact degree it has been infiltrated by a variety of groups, and identifying the who, why, and where of this infiltration will be key to keeping the organization under our thumb. We do have loyal men there, after all. It is merely a matter of separating them from the disloyal and incompetent. We might also be capable of working with elements who have similarly vested interests in peace, the Ulster Scots, for example. This is key to the goals, because if the constabulary cannot be convinced of peace, how the hell are we going to put in force between the paramilitaries? These are all points. The world is being lit on fire, and meanwhile, we're gonna be ending kind of soon with this. I think Ireland only has content to 66, and we're coming right on the that new year. But we have the NDL here, a little boring. The Independent Labour Party up there. What do we want here? Oh, nothing really in this branch really matters other than roleplay. But I guess, I don't know, support weapons. That's all we really have time for at this point. Control the NIC. Arrest the troublemakers. The NIC has been brought to heel, which means we can proceed with the next step of our plan. Ian Paisley is a menace and likely a traitor to boot, but he's also one of the most prominent voices for the non-Catholic population in Northern Ireland. Twomey is equally as problematic. Allegations of outright Marxism aside, the man will never accept a peace offered by the Unionists to begin with. So we'll arrest them both. Not kill them, merely arrest them. After all, it never hurts to be paranoid, and frankly, without those two running around, we can address some of the less simple problems with more freedom. I mean, might have a point. I don't know. It is an idea. Oliver James Flanagan. I mean, that does kind of sound like a smug man. I'm not gonna lie. The Christmas War? What is this? Argentina and Patagonia. What is this? What's going on down here? Seamus Twomey closed his eyes and savored the moment. It was to be his last moment, he knew, for the bumbling military police had accidentally made themselves obvious as they quietly lined up around his residence to kick down the door. He breathed in the air of his home, the sweet air of free Ireland. His hands rubbed the soft and familiar upholstery of his favorite chair. Well, mass be damned, if Twomey was to be executed today, then he'd not spend the final moments in fear. The door slammed open, and government lapdogs poured into his home, shouting demands, yelling for him to cooperate. Seamus didn't open his eyes, merely enjoying the cool breeze of Irish air as it wafted in with the thugs. He was ready, and yet Twomey did not receive the bullet to his head he expected, nearly a blow to the forehead after he failed to follow instructions. Twomey came back to consciousness in the back of an armored truck. Next stop, Longkesh Detention Center, muttered another man, handcuffed as sure as Twomey himself was. He would have been surprised that he was alive, had he not been too busy being shocked at who his comrade Shanes was. Ian Paisley. Hey, you. You're finally awake. Okay, let's prevent leaks. Blaney's connection to the IRA is something incredible. It's really a testament to the man's skills. that he pulled off all he did. Unfortunately, if this ever became public knowledge, then any chance of peace would be thrown out of the proverbial window, into the proverbial streets, and then into the proverbial sewer. This must stay secret, and by any means at our disposal. We shall send some loyal men to the task, men who value peace over glory, and whose loyalty is unquestioned. There will be no commendations, no records, no notes. They do their duty for the good of Ireland, they will do their duty for the people, and with any luck, nobody will ever know. I'm awake. Glad to see that. I can't check in on Survivor right now because I'm too busy trying to save Ireland. So, how much of a dumpster fire is it still? Joe Biden. Wake up. Survivors calm down, move to cool kids. Oh no. Oh no, it's spreading. Oh, good lord. Okay. Well, that's a nice left-wing populace you got over there, South America. It would be a shame if we did anything to it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It'd be a shame if something happened to him. Let's burn the evidence. Certain actions taken by certain people nominally under the auspices of our own government were regrettable. They were mistaken. They threatened the attempted peace in Northern Ireland. If they were to be released to the general public, chaos could ensue, and so it falls upon us to take the hard choice and remove the evidence which could implicate members of our government in such actions. There will be a reckoning for this one day, but hopefully by that time anyone realizes something is amiss in Ireland. It is amiss. Ireland will have long turned its swords into plowshares. I mean, you can hope. Want to recap episode? Just check quotes. I'll have to do that after this, because this is fucking lit, I gotta say. What's old Burgundy up to? Their GDP is kind of lacking, it looks like. West Paris has a fair bit of GDP. West Paris, not so much. Curious a little bit about, Breach! Ordered the sergeant, and Private Connells clutched his rifle precariously. Tightly in preparation. I'm getting a ton of notifications on my phone that I do not need right now, goddammit. I need to focus. Small powder charge cracked through the locks on the elaborate palace door. The corporal was first through the door, with Connell and the others storming in right on his heels. Connell was on crowd control, but a shocked employee in a worn gray suit was reaching in his coat in front of him, as though he might pull a gun. Bad idea, mate. Hands where I can see him. The man nodded nervously and hoisted his empty hands into the air. Connell passed him by to follow the sergeant, letting the other special forces troop wrangle the disoriented staffer. Eventually, the team had stormed enough ornate halls and subdued enough bewildered employees to reach his office. Connell's job was easy. He just had to watch the door, keep his rifle up while a crowd of underpaid interns sobbed quietly outside the office. The sergeant and corporal inside systematically photographed and then burned any and all documents that involved intelligence and plans for dealing with the IRA and UVF. They're out the door 10 minutes later, having done their divination. It's better this way. No one needs to know what happened on the road to Irish unity. I mean, we know, but they don't need to know. Paisley and Twomey want those interns need to protest. They really do. But, that's a lot of their problem. Paisley and Twomey want concessions for their agreement to a peaceful solution in Northern Ireland, which decided, since they're suggesting concessions are mutually exclusive, to just stick them in the same room and see what comes of it. Hopefully the tortured mess of a compromise they produce will result in something halfway there to an actual solution. Even if nothing comes of value of this, however, we'll still get the entertainment of value of watching two of Ireland's most notorious figures shouting at each other for hours on end. Perhaps we consider recording it for posterity. I'm down. I mean, I got Streamlabs open. I got Shadowplay, or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be called now. I still call it Shadowplay even after it's been renamed. However long ago. So I think we're done, so we can go ahead and do that. Beautiful. Beautiful. And we're building a school in Derry still, although that, I mean, that actually might be done by the time we finish up. Who knows? So we can see... Seamus told me snapped his fingers on the old wooden prison table. Ian Paisley across from him, cuffed the table just as Seamus was. A dozen guards were at the ready, clearly expecting violence between the two. We've lost, then, haven't we, Seamus? Both of us. It was well fought, Ian. Very well thought, Tommy replied before taking a long swig of his water while the transcriber recorded every word. He placed the cup quietly on the table. Well, if that's how it's going, there's no use getting more people killed over it, is there? We have to come to some form of agreement like Dublin wants, don't we? I'd say ought, yes. If we must compromise, we can at least try to make sure it's equitable. And I'm sure there's some things we can all agree on, aren't they? Asked Twomey with a smirk and a wink. Naturally. If this is to be an agreement between Irishmen, I think we can come to an agreement that will cause a few headaches in Germania, can't we? Oh, for God's sakes, couldn't we have just done this years ago? God damn it, they're being friendly and shit. God damn it. Apparently God is real because miracles like this just don't happen naturally. Seems that Paisley and Twomey got along swimmingly in their mutual confinement, so much so that they've come to an agreement that despite their mutual differences and utter hatred for each other's causes, they agree that the real problem is Germany. I mean, of course it fucking is. Their suggested red line for a peace agreement and the standing down of all paramilitary forces is Ireland to withdraw from the pact immediately. This might be a risky move, but we don't really have any other options here. And we can blame the communists if things do go horribly wrong after all. True. Good cooperation. Labour Party sticking with us. Roughly, hardliners are doing okay. Liberals, not bad. Charles Mass was very privately elated. As a politician, professionalism dictated that he did not cheer, no matter how much he may have done so in his private moments. In front of him lay the answers to all of his problems. In one fell swoop, he had not only put an end to the unending violence and unrest in the north, but also managed to get his nation out of despised Einheitspacht, while all the while being able to act as if he had no choice in the matter whatsoever. The de-Germanization process had already begun. Across Ireland, German military advisors were being escorted awaiting ships where they would be returned to the Reich in shame. Enjoy your stream, I gotta get ready for work. You go ahead and do that, Eric. Thanks for hopping in. Let's see. Similarly, German-owned businesses were being boarded up, their former owners simply being escorted to similarly waiting boats. Some of the Toysuk's financial advisors were already noticing a worrying sharp downtick in the Irish economy, but Lamass dismissed the concerns as mere growing pains. Ireland would have to get a little bit worse before it got better. For now, Lamass was sitting at a small table in front of a crowd of reporters, flanked by Paisley and Twomey on either side. In front of them were copies of the documents that had been drawn up, dubbed the Good Friday Agreement. Around him, cameras flashed, immortalizing the moment that Ireland would finally achieve peace. Picking up his pen, Lamass spoke. This is a historic day for all Irish citizens. Today marks an end to the conflicts that have threatened to drive us apart. Brother against brother, father against child. Today Ireland is forged whole, becomes the master of her own destiny. With a stroke of his pen, cameras flashing around him, the Toysuk brought peace once more to his troubled nation, and delivered Ireland out into the world, free as it always had wanted to be. He only hoped that Germania would be more forgiving. And with that, peace in our time. In spite of the harrowing prophecies of unending conflict and hatred between the North and South, peace has prevailed. The feuds of an entire isle have been staved off as armed forces on both sides are standing down, marking the end of tensions between the two. For all their history and differences, Catholics and Protestants have found common ground to live together rather than fight. What has been seen as impossible in the past has been achieved, and every man, woman, and child is better for it. Ireland has been saved. Well, there we go. Well, that's nice. I love happy endings. I am really curious how they're going to add the next however many years of content to Ireland. Because I like Ireland a lot. It's a great nation, but especially with the parliament mechanics, I don't know how they're going to work on that. Sean Lamass smiled at the cameras as IRA and Ulster Volunteer Force counterparts did the same, grinning cheerfully in their seats at the Stormont Parliament. Most would cynically assume that the smiles were forced, but Lamass knew from the long back and forths as the agreement was drafted that these two were quite genuinely happy to have salvaged something from the jaws of defeat. It was that knowledge that Lamass had leaned on whenever he ordered for there to be no abnormal military presence within view of cameras. There would be no violence. Everyone wanted this agreement to some degree. With my signature, I trust that we are building a sovereign Ireland today, free of repugnant foreign influence, explained Seamus Tomey to the cameras as he scrawled his signature on the document. With consent of the communities I represent, began Paisley, stepping to Tomey's place as the document as he was finished. We sign this document to safeguard the rights and freedoms of the Protestant communities and acknowledge that we are no more or less Irish than a man in Dublin. I have little to say, said Lamass when it was his turn, save that Ireland is finally whole, perhaps the first time it has ever been. Now, can we all stop fighting? And what many are calling an unbelievable twist in the long and troubled history of Ireland, all sides in the Ulster conflict have signed an agreement to cease all terrorist or armed activity. The Protestant UVF, under Ian Paisley, has sat down with Seamus Tomey's left-wing Catholic SC. Isn't that the IRA now? It might just need some updating, I don't know. And Sean Lamass in Northern Ireland Stormont Parliament to sign a peace agreement. Their main terms of this deal were for Ireland to leave the pact and hold regional elections in exchange for a ceasefire. Any fear of economic fallout caused by an abrupt departure from the pact seems to be ignored by the Irish population, who are celebrating the peaceful resolution to the Ulster arms crisis. Doubtlessly, Lamass has saved Ireland's future, and a new and glorious dawn is on the horizon. And what started in 1916 finally ends. And so dusk approaches on the new order. Well, that was fun, I think. I really enjoyed Ireland. I'm glad I got a chance to hop back into it. Okay, this is neat. Okay, so we can open the rift. Summon the Hoff. This is neat. This option is beyond canonical and completely unsupported from this point onwards. There's no extra content for these, nor there will ever be. No post-bug reports resulting in the use of these options. Well, I'd start World War III, but that kind of removes the whole fun of that. I like arcade mode. That's a neat little thing. I didn't realize we added that. Anyway, that's really it for now, folks. I had fun with this. I think I played this initially when Cutting Room Floor dropped out. I'm glad I came back to it to finally finish it, because it was a lot of fun, honestly. I'd like to thank everyone for watching and bearing with me as I uploaded this. I had a weird couple of weeks after Toolbox Theory launched, and so I wasn't able to sit down and record all of this. I'm glad I finally got the chance to do that now, and it was fun. Thank you to the TNO team for finally dropping this mod and for all your good work. I appreciate all the work you put in, and I'm looking forward to what you guys come up with next. To all my fans, thanks for putting up with me and my wacky upload schedule for the next couple months. I'm hoping to have a upload, let's see, this is going up Wednesday, so probably Thursday. It is more than likely going to be more. So have fun with that, and all those epic gamer moments. And yeah, that's really about it for now, folks. Like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. I know you can't see the dislikes, but I can, so I at least appreciate the honesty. Leave any comments down in the comment section below. I read all the comments and appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Want to chat, play games, anything like that, check out my Discord. If you want to see me do this stuff live, I have Twitch. If you want to see me back to my other month, I have Patreon. Yeah, that's about it for now, folks. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next series. Goodbye.